Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's been a minute. Salute, man. Get a mic check. I have my phone on, make sure everybody can hear me. You guys don't get no cool intros tonight because StreamYard wants like $40 a month, $44 a month, or to pay a yearly fee of like $481. And it's crazy to me, man. StreamYard used to be like $20, $15, $20 a month, dude. I was one of the first people when StreamYard was trying to get business. And so anyways, I'm not going to pay 40 something dollars a month. So we'll just leave it at that. So you get the StreamYard logo up there and they won't let me do any of my cool videos I made. So that sucks, but it is what it is. So James Furpo, man, salute, big dog. Hope you're doing good, bro. Got a lot I want to talk about. I'm going to go over that where I've been through the ringer a little bit, guys, but appreciate all you guys. Louis V, say it ain't so. It is, man. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing, man. Maybe some days it seems like barely, but that hat. Oh, this is a local baseball team called the Vibes. It's like a marshmallow on fire with graham crackers, dude. Isn't that kind of cool? Yeah, it's got like the mesh, so you know, those mesh hats, I used to not like them, but they're kind of nice because kind of help keep your head a little bit cool. Gonna go over a lot of things today, kind of some stuff that's been happening in my life, kind of why I haven't been live, tell you guys about all the sports cards I sold, and a lot of other stuff I'm gonna share with you guys. I got a pile over here of stuff we're gonna go over, but yeah, man, salute everybody. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Missed all you guys. Said how I've been all right. So let's kind of dive into it. Past 6 months been kind of rough, if I'm being honest, everybody. I'm not the kind of guy where I want sympathy or anything like that, but my mom has been doing well, and she has lived in Montana the last, since like I was in like third grade when we moved there. She's lived there the entire time, so I guess 30 years or something crazy. So anyway, she wasn't doing good. She was going to get evicted from her apartment. So me, my wife, and kids, we had to go up there and pretty much keep her from being homeless. I worked something out with the property managers there. And that was kind of a big expense. Had to do some stuff to the apartment just to kind of keep her there. And then because she's like old and disabled and got, this brain disease and stuff that I don't talk about usually, that's made it really tough. But like it was this waiting process to get her Section 8 moved from Colorado or from Montana here to Colorado where I'm at. And yeah, it was a lot. So then we had to go back up to Montana and finish moving her. The first time we went up there, we got rid of a bunch of stuff. So it made the actual move not as tough, but it was tough, not just financially, but a big burden, a lot of stress. So this last month and a half getting her moved down here, it was just a miracle to get Section 8 approved. I know not everybody, probably feels good about Section 8, but my mom's old, disabled, and she's one of the few people that probably actually needs Section 8, So anyways, just for her to get approved for Section 8 was like a miracle because my mom was literally going to be homeless and the property manager people weren't going to allow my mom to get extended at all. So it was just, really stressful. And but a miracle happened and it got approved like last minute. We had to get some higher up people involved and to get it moving because we were going to be at a bad spot. And the property managers weren't going to extend her another month. So it is what it is, I guess. And then so after that, we've just been trying to like get her moved down here and try to like get her settled in. And we had to get her like, some furniture and stuff. And so unfortunately, my mom's on her way out, and luckily I got a wife and 2 kids. My oldest son is 14. He helped out a lot. It was a big help. I mean, the first time we went up there, we had to paint the entire apartment. That was the deal. That and shampoo the carpets. That was the deal for them to extend my mom another month. Just ridiculous. And so we had to pay for that out of pocket and do all that work. But my son and my wife helped out with all that, and then the move. So definitely blessed, because I don't have any other family to help with this, or from the financial burden to just the physical stress, mental stress. So I don't want sympathy, but I just want to be honest with you guys. So it's been tough. I usually don't talk about this stuff. I just kind of shelter in place, but I also want to be real with you guys, and not just tell you that my life's just been great. But I also feel that sacrifices and life happens, and I'm not doing it for a blessing or anything like that. If you guys believe in something other than this earth, maybe say a prayer for us. And I think things are looking on the up and up. Maybe not my mom's health, but at least she's in a better living situation, because her old apartment wasn't good at all. And at least her last time here on earth, at least I'll be able to be close to her, because the last 20 something years, 30 years, I haven't lived close to my mom. So that's the positive part. At least I get to go over there and see her. So besides that, my dog, I'm outside, and my wife comes out. I'm in the garage, and she's like, is the dog outside? Everest? That's the name of our dog. And I was like, yeah. And he got sprayed by a skunk really bad. And so on top of everything else, it's like when it rains, it pours. My wife was like getting over a cold, and our dog gets sprayed by a skunk really bad. So now my entire house smells like a skunk, because we had to give him a bath and all that. So that was fun. And sometimes you just laugh about it, or you're just going to go crazy. You're like, what else is life going to throw at me next? And you know what? I think even though I thought about this, I'm not alone. I know a lot of people in life, everybody deals with their own stuff, So, I just want to say, no matter what you're dealing with in life, whether your life is good or you're going through a hard time, just hang in there. I know sometimes it sucks, but, I also think that it's through all the hardship that we go through that makes us, can make us a better human being, no matter what perspective, no matter what you believe in or whatever. I think it's really, I look at life like you don't get to pick the cards that are dealt to you. All you can do is play the cards the best you can, and you look about it, if you look at it like life about that way, then a lot of times it's not so bad. And, nothing, is as bad as worrying about getting blown up in Iraq when I was deployed to Iraq. So, everything else, it's not that bad, I think. So, and then there's some other stuff I'm going to get into talking about. Sorry to ramble. I know you guys just wanted to talk about, football and cards, and I love that stuff. I do. But, I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all the guys that have stuck with me, through everything. No matter this channel, my other channel. I just want to say I love you guys. It means a lot to me. You guys have always stuck by my side, and I'll never forget that loyalty and how much it means to me. So a lot of you guys are more like family to me than you guys realize, even if I go ghost for a while because I'm dealing with my own stuff. So on a positive note, both my kids just got done playing baseball, and that was really their first times playing baseball, and that worked out pretty funny. I do got a lot of good stuff to get into, but I just want to update you real quick on a couple of those things. I was actually, I was going to do softball for myself, adult softball, because I'm I need to do something to get out some of my energy and stuff, and I can't play football. I'll get my old butt broken off kind of thing. But I was I could probably do baseball. I don't like watching baseball for the most part, but maybe I could play it. So I go from me going to do softball, adult softball, to then I'm you know what? It's pretty messed up as a dad if I play a sport, but because I've been so busy, my kids haven't had a chance to do sports these last few years, running my own business and stuff and trying to grow the business and working sun up to past sundown, and I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I'm just saying I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance, or the availability to put my kids in sports. And so I'm going to play softball and then take my kids out to the park, and I decided to buy them a baseball glove. and we just started playing catch. My dad never played catch with me. It was kind of weird. This like moment you're like sitting there throwing a ball with your kid and you're like, man, my dad never did this with me. And, at least I'm healthy enough to throw a ball, right? And not too broken off there. And they really liked it. And then so I went and got a baseball bat and let my oldest son start hitting some balls. And he's like day one starts slugging baseballs pretty far. And that was pretty impressive because like he's 14, he's older, or he's 13 at the time and just turned 14. But I'm like, man, maybe he's like a natural or something at baseball. And then bought a bat for my youngest son, and he's real little. My youngest is like 9, just turned 9 a little while ago. And so he's got a little ways to go, but he did pretty good for not doing it before. So it's not like I have high expectations, for either one of them. And my thing is with kids and sports, especially when they're older. When they're younger, it's like have fun, but when they're older, like a 14-year-old, I just told my son, look, if you're going to do a sport, just don't quit and give 100% or give full effort, maximum effort, whatever your effort ability is. So that went pretty good. Son, both of them played baseball, really liked it. Going to baseball games. I helped coach my youngest son's baseball team. I don't know how much help I was, but I just wanted to help the kids, so the younger kids, 8, 9 years old, stuff like that, helping them out. So that was a lot of fun. I do like teaching, and when kids are that age, I'm not going to be too hard or hardcore on them. But then my oldest son, his baseball coach was also a football coach. And if you guys don't know, football is my sport, right? Like that's the only thing I've ever loved, was football. And I actually always wanted to be a coach, believe it or not. It just with life and run a business, it's just been hard to be a coach. But when my oldest son was younger, I was like the assistant coach of his flag football team for 2 years. And then I was like the head coach for 2 years. And a lot of my desire to coach was really because he had some bad coaches, like the younger years. I was like, this cannot be the cream of the crop or, the best way to teach these kids, about sports and football and stuff. So, what do I do with my water? Anyway, so, I have some football coaching experience, not a whole lot, but I also understand a lot more about football. I mean, if you've hung with me for more than, since I started this channel, like, you should know, hopefully, you guys respect me enough to at least understand that I do have at least somewhat of a adept, football mind. And a lot of people do. I mean, I think, like how, being a fan of a football team and stuff, like a lot of us look at football differently than just your couch general manager kind of thing. So I do think there's a lot of smart people out there, and like I look at the game and I know coverages and stuff, and not everybody looks at it that way. So, anyways, so my oldest son starts playing tackle football because his baseball coach recruited him. And then I was helping coach his team a little bit, not as much as I wanted, but it kind of also lit a fire under me. And so between baseball and football, I had to make myself available on top of, dealing with all this stuff with my mom. So it kind of really lit a fire under me that, I really need to be coaching, high school football. I really do. Like in older kids, maybe 8th grade at the youngest. But with my knowledge of football, desire, and the great things that to me, what football brings to the table, because, let's just be honest, society has changed so much to try to take football and like hardcore alpha males out of society that people like me don't always fit in, especially an Army combat infantry veteran. Guys like me are kind of an outcast, a lot of Karens out there don't want their, little Johnny boy to be playing football. It's like foosball is the devil, but the what people miss about football is that it teaches some of the greatest things that no other sport can teach. It is the greatest sport in the world. It teaches discipline. It teaches integrity. It teaches selflessness. It teaches you like how to dig deep and strive to be something better than you thought was possible within yourself. And most importantly, it teaches you how to be, teamwork, a team player. And so, for me, and also I think it's also an avenue to help keep kids off of drugs. I really do. All sports, but especially football, I think it can help steer kids the right direction so they don't hang out with hoodlums or whatever, and they go down the wrong path. And football provided that for me. A lot of my success as I got older, believe it or not, was because of football, and also because of hard coaches, coaches that cared about me enough where they were trying to get the best out of me. So with that being said, I met with, the coach, the high school coach, that's going to be my son's coach next year, the school he's going to go to in high school, because he'll be a freshman next year, and just kind of talk to him. It's his first year as a head coach. He's a retired special forces, Army, retired Army special forces. And, for me, I want to be around those kind of leaders. I want to be around those kind of men, alpha males, the guys that really give a crap, and not the coaches that are just half lackluster. And, so I believe this new coach on the high school football team is going to bring something great. And I'm just hoping I get the opportunity to get my foot in the door and to help, coach the football team. And if I have to start out in 8th grade or something, maybe not as advanced or something, I'm also willing to do that, but with my son's team, it just, with how I was trying to help out and what I can bring to the table, it just wasn't a good fit for me, unfortunately. So that's kind of the football spiel and coaching. But, I think with all things, like, belief and all things are possible. And I think with one negative situation or something that can happen in your life, it can, motivate us, or it can also bring in another opportunity. And maybe the other opportunity is really the path we're supposed to be taking on, not the current one. So other than that, I'm not going to get too much into the football coaching, but I have a certain philosophy of how football is supposed to be coached and certain things that kids should know, at least like 8th grade and up. And, if I'm not seeing those things happen, like, it kind of, makes me feel like uneasy, and understandably so. Football is supposed to be coached a certain way, and there's certain drills for certain reasons and things to make, a team successful. And so we'll see. My son still has 4 more games. He just had his first game. They won. And, we got some more to go. But, like, football cards and all that, it's all my passion, sports. And if there's something I can do through whatever I've been through in life, and if it can help some kids, like, I can be hard, but I can also, like, tone myself down and help kids to hopefully motivate them to choose a different path than if maybe they weren't set up for the best, success in life, because I'm a living example of not being set up for any success. And all the success I've had, a lot of life lessons and blood, sweat, and tears. And, I hope, that's something that if I get blessed with a opportunity later on to help coach, that I can help kids have that passion and give them hopefully some motivation to succeed in life, and football is one of the main things that help, football in the Army, but help teach me that, how to not quit, how to give 100%, or if you think you're giving 100%, a lot of us think we're giving 100%. We're giving like 60 or 70. A lot of us don't even reach our max potential. You know what I mean? And we give up long before we reach max potential. And I call that within myself, or someone else, or kids. A lot of us have what I call untapped potential, meaning we have potential, but it's, we gotta tap into that. We're given 60, 70% thinking it's 100%. And we got to figure out a way to reach that level and surpass it to really get to 100%. And then you make a new goal above the 100%, and so you're always striving to get better in anything you do. And if you have that kind of mindset, I don't care what you do in life, you'll be successful. You will be successful no matter what it is. And it's especially important, I think, when it comes to football. So, all right, that's my football spiel. Coaching, I'll read you guys' comments real quick, and then got a crap ton of stuff we're going to get into. And yes, I did sell a lot of my cards. That's right. D-Minute said, when it rains, it pours. How you come out the other side. That's right, brother. It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up, man. And nothing, as much as I've been through in life, man, you just got to keep getting back up, man. Appreciate that, Louis V. It's hard for me because I don't like to get real emotional. Like, I can get emotional, like fiery, but it's tough for me because, I hold a lot of that shit in, but I appreciate that for sure. Said, my high school varsity coach got 8 years for having a relationship with a 16-year-old cheerleader. Ooh. Ouch, that took a little wind out of the cells. Well, yeah, you ain't gonna worry about that with me, man. But yeah, that sucks, bro. Give me 1 second, guys. Don't go anywhere. I gotta grab my water because my throat is killing me. I think I left it in the kitchen. So just give me 1 second. I'll be right back, and I gotta show you guys some stuff I got going on. All right. Sorry about that. All right, I don't think my camera wigged out, so that's good. Sometimes it wigs out because it follows me everywhere. All right, we're gonna get into, I guess, show preview. Right, we're went to a card show. Gonna talk about that. Maybe I should just try to show you guys here if I don't mess up everything. Move my notes here. So we got all that stuff here, there, and over there. So this is gonna be kind of a long video. To be honest with you guys, I rambled, but that's cool. Only the real ones will stay this far. So, and then they'll miss all the good stuff if they clicked off. So, all right. Where do I start with the card show? Okay, so I've been to a few card shows. This is the first one where we decided to actually rent a table. So we rented a table. This is like a couple weekends ago, and I wasn't sure what to expect. So the table rental cost, the table itself, it was only one day. It was a Saturday here where I live in Colorado Springs. Super great guys. The guys from the shop. I'll show you a couple cards I got from them. Their card shop here, but it's called The Shop. Shout out to Aaron and Brent, and I forget the other guy's name, but all three of them are really cool guys. But Brent is like the guy that's like in charge of selling the tables. And it was like last minute because all the stuff I've been dealing with my mom. I didn't get a chance to reserve the table, and so he hooked me up like a week ahead of time, or less than a week to go because all the tables were sold out. And he hooked me up with a table, and then I had to rent like a display case. That's what this is over here. I bought one now that I'm going to show you guys, and there's a reason for all this. But this is like a display case, so you put your cards in here. I know the green screen is messing it up, but and you lift this glass lid up like this. You can't see it because it's clear and the green screen is messing up. But anyway, so it's like your typical display case, but you can get those if you're anybody that's wanting to, like get your own table at a card show. I mean, 100 to $125 isn't too bad. So it's $25 to rent one of those, and then 100 for the thing. And I just kind of went into it with open mind. Kind of had, I'd say, a better turnout than I thought. A lot of my cards that we were selling weren't like big, massive cards, or that we were trying to sell, but just wanted to go for the experience for like me and my kids and stuff. So we go there, we get set up. If you go to a card show like that, there's like some things you should have, like definitely have like a label maker. That's like an extra cartridges for that. That's a huge positive. And, there are some people like wanting to wheel and deal. There's a lot of interesting things that happen there. So one of the things was this page. I had to write down some notes because there's so much I want to talk about that if I don't do it this way, then I'll miss stuff. So, going into it is like what expectations I have. And, I wasn't exactly sure. I just tried to have an open mind. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a waste of $125 or what, So I didn't have much expectations. I was mainly kind of just wanted my kids to have fun. And so leading up to it, there was actually a lot of cards that I'd bought over the last 6 months that I was going to show you guys on this channel, and it just got down to the wire, and I didn't have a chance to show you guys a bunch of cards. So there was stuff that I had saved up to show on the channel, but with all the stuff with my mom, I just had to open them and bring them to the card show and kind of see what would happen. So apologize for that, but there is some other stuff here we're going to show you guys. and it was like the other question was like, how was setting up a table different than being a customer and buying cards? So like you're walking around, you're buying cards, trading cards. And honestly, when I was at the table, like I didn't have a chance to really walk around, which is crazy. I thought I'd at least get some breathing room. It was like, and time went by so fast at the card show because like you set up your table, so like we had all the cards out, and leading up to it, I'm just trying to like put price tags on cards the night before. And even when the card show's starting, I'm still trying to finish doing price tags for stuff. So that's kind of how crazy it was leading up to it. And then but yeah, so barely had time, like, and lunchtime came, and like we're hungry. And I remember I was like, it's already lunch. Like time just flew because it was like customer after customer. And it wasn't like the national card show. I mean, it was like busy, but it wasn't like thousands of people. I mean, it's hundreds or like, but it was just a steady flow. So it wasn't overwhelming, for the most part, but it was really nice interacting with people, kids and stuff. And some people are just looking around. I will say at the end of the card show, I walked around, and some of the, keep this in mind, some of the vendors or the people that had tables had already packed up and left. But towards the end of the card show, I did get a chance just to walk around for 5 or 10 minutes, not enough to look at cards like I might want to, just enough to see kind of what tables, what the environment and the other area of the show was. And dude, it was like 70 to 80% Pokemon. Like, I kid you not. Like, the tables that were set up that were left was like almost all Pokemon, it seemed like. Hardly any sports cards. And that blew my mind that Pokemon is that big, because I was never a Pokemon collector. I know there's a lot of kids out there that do and stuff. But I like, Pokemon kind of came after, when I was younger, when I was getting out of the card collecting and stuff. So, and I don't understand anything about Pokemon, and it's not something that intrigues me. But shout out to those that do like Pokemon. I just don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. And, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. But so, I was really surprised that there wasn't more sports cards. For there to be like 70 to 80% of the entire venue was all Pokemon was like pretty nuts, So Pokemon collectors, I guess that's a good thing for them. Sports card collectors, maybe not as much, my favorite part about the card show, I was going to have my kids try to come on and kind of, give their take on like what they liked about it. But it got late and I just ran out of time to do this show for you guys. But there was a Lego dealer that literally had these little Lego characters, and he was like right across the way. And my kids got a bunch of Legos. So we actually did a trade with him where he literally told me, like, I don't think this way, but he told me, he's like, whatever Asian baseball players you have, he's like, I'll take them. And then, we can do a trade. So I didn't have anything real big. I had like Shohei Ohtani base and then some other guys. And, I don't think they're worth anything. It wasn't like anything crazy, but I gave him those, and he gave us like $20 and credit towards some little Lego figurines. So my kids had a lot of fun with that because they had like some Star Wars guys and some different like, Lego characters that they liked. So that kind of kept them entertained, while I watched the table, and they were, taking care of that. So that was probably their favorite part, I would say, of the card show. My favorite part, I'm going to show you coming up here, what I did. It's pretty massive, and most people are probably going to think I'm an idiot, but I'll share my favorite part coming up here in a minute. And then there's probably two favorite parts for me. And then what needs improved about the card show. I'll hit that because that's kind of the last topic before I start showing you guys stuff. What needs improved? I would say the bathrooms were really far away. Like, it was pretty nuts. It was like a football field away. So it was like this venue where they did like, I'd never been there, but like rodeos and stuff. And it was a concrete floor, but it was just this like massive building, and you literally had to walk like a football field to use the bathroom. So that was kind of crazy because if you're trying to, you can't leave your table unattended. Luckily, my wife was there, so she could watch the table. But, my kids aren't really at the age where I'm comfortable leaving, some expensive cards and stuff there without me being there to watch them. So for someone to use the bathroom, isn't always ideal. And it was a constant flow of people. I mean, we were like barely had time to eat lunch. And, then there's like people coming up. So you just had to kind of eat as you're like, can I help you, or whatever. But the other part that needed improved about the card show is they ran out of food, like at like 1 o'clock or something. They like the vendor like literally ran out of food. So my wife went in line, she got food, and it wasn't really enough. And I was like, well, my oldest son was like helping some customers and doing a trade deal or selling some cards and stuff while I was eating. And I was like, well, we'll just eat his nachos and then we'll go get him more, kind of thing. And so, we get done. It was like 5-10 minutes later. I sent my wife to go get more nachos, and they literally ran out of food, which sucked. It's really not funny. My son was so pissed because we ate his nachos because I was gonna get him more, but I was starving, dude. I was like, and so I felt really bad about that. He was really pissed. So that sucked. I mean, like, I don't understand how some like a venue runs out of food, but I guess it happens. So you would think they would plan on a lot of people being there and have enough food or whatever. So, they literally ran out of everything, even like popcorn. So that's kind of crazy. So those be the two areas of improvement, I'd say. Hopefully they don't run out of food next time. And hopefully when they move it, it's going to be in the same building, but closer to the bathrooms, because that was kind of ridiculous. So, all right, let's see what you guys have to say. Then we're going to show you guys some stuff. My high school football freshman football coach played for the University of Utah. Oh, nice. And my varsity football coach played at USC. He was backup QB. Oh, nice. Some of those end up being the best like coaches too, bro. We still have PSA 10 Raiders sticker. You mean the Flair one? It's a nice case. I don't bring none of my Raiders stuff, bro. Yeah. I don't bring none of my Raiders stuff to the card show because I that's all mine. All those shows I go to like that too, mostly TCG. Oh, nice, right on, and that's cool. I'm not taking shots at the Pokemon. I did when I was younger, but like if whatever people are passionate about, like I'm all for it. You know what I mean? I would have liked to seen some more sports card collectors there. I guess was my main thing. So, all right. I guess we could start there with the big one. So, all right, at the end of this, we'll show you guys. Or actually, all right, at the end of this, we're gonna open this Optic football box. Okay, this has cost me $118. One of the things we're gonna do, like I'm gonna have to flip around the camera here shortly, but one of the things I'm gonna do with when I like do these recordings with you guys is I'm gonna show you guys the price I pay for stuff. For the most part, I'm gonna try to be more transparent of what I'm paying for stuff. So, and there's another card show coming up. The price that I pay, keep in mind, like if I have to pay like this other table of this other show I'm going to, if I end up going to this one in Loveland, it's like $150, but it's like for 2 days, so it's like a Saturday Sunday thing. So you just got to keep in mind, like if I have to go and it's like half hour, 45-minute drive, hour drive there, and then an hour drive back. And then I got to do that for 2 days. That gas plus the table rental is $150, and you got to treat it like a business. I mean, no matter what you pay for cards, if you got $200 invested for just overhead to run the table, because I'm going to start treating some of this like a business. I might set up a Whatnot channel eventually, or stream to sell cards. Sometimes I'm thinking possibly. But there's few things, I want to kind of work out before I go the Whatnot, potential option, but anyways, before I make any profit, you got to make $200 cash just to break even. Right. And then any money like that you pay for a card, you have to add on, profit for that, plus enough to cover your, 150 table plus the $200, another $50 trip charge, and that's not even time, for any of this. So any price that I show you guys is like what I paid for the card plus their shipping costs, because I'm including the shipping cost. But when I sell something, I'm gonna have to sell it to make a profit, because like just for me to make $200, to cover the cost of the table and stuff, you're gonna have to be selling a lot of stuff is the point. And you're gonna have to, probably price some stuff over comps where some people aren't gonna like that. They go to card shows, which I get. And there's some things with comp prices that I don't like. I don't know if I'll talk about it in this video because there's so much to go over. But comp prices are not accurate for a multitude of reasons. But one of the things my wife got, show you guys this one. Who can tell me whose autograph that is right there on the top? This is a mini Speed Flex helmet. Anybody tell me whose autograph that is? That, my friends, is Bo Jackson. Bo knows. So my wife got this for me. This is a little nice Raiders, mini helmet that someone was selling. I think she bought it for 125 or 150. But and I do want to get a full size Bo Jackson helmet, but this is pretty sick. That actually makes me really happy. I need to take it out. I know most people leave them in there. I'm going to take it out and display it. So the way it's supposed to be. So put that guy up there. Now that I shared that, so that one's out of the way because that doesn't stack as easy. And then, we brought quite a bit of cards. I spent leading up because I was trying to get my kids set up better than myself. So they make these binders. These are BINDRZ called binders, and these are a lot cooler than the binders when we were kids. And I wasn't sure if these are going to be a big kind of thing, because most people don't like flipping through binders. But my thinking on it is that if someone, I may have to turn off the green screen so this works, but if someone comes up and they have a case in their hand, so they're carrying, so like if you guys don't know, most people have like what's called a Zion case. So this display case, right? That's from Zion. You guys can find that through the Zion cases. Most people are carrying a case like this that you can like open up. You carry all your nice cards in here, right? Graded slabs, or they don't have to be nice, but most people like at minimum usually have a case. Maybe not kids or people first starting out, but like you're carrying it, you don't want to set it down because it's expensive. So my thinking was like for the stuff that's not like in a PSA slab, to make it to where they can be holding something and then they can easily flip the pages and stuff. So as you'll see on here, like there's like some Michael Jordans and stuff. So this is my oldest son. He does the basketball usually, but there's nothing too crazy. There's like a couple like $40, $60. There's a Wemby $50 card. There's some like numbered to 25. So after that page, most of these are like $5 cards. And then really a lot of these, like they're not base, but they're like inserts, and they're like $3 to $5 cards. So like, I did it to where I just stuck a label on all these, and these binders are nice because these are like an actual top loaders. So it's, it's not just in a soft sleeve. You could stick them in a soft sleeve, but they tend to want to like kind of fall out. So it is an expense to put all of these in top loaders, but my thinking was they can come through, they can flip through. So anyways, leading up to my oldest son did some of this, but I had to kind of fine tune it and stuff and pricing stuff and whatever. So now that's set up. It's not as difficult, but getting that set up through all the basketball cards he's gotten over the last like couple of years took a lot of time leading up to the card show. And then my youngest son does the soccer, which is good that they're all, we're all kind of, and they can collect different stuff. It's not like they have to do soccer and just basketball, but just kind of generally, they kind of like doing, those sports for each. But, for my youngest, I did, same thing to him. It's so big, it's hard to you kind of see like these, like I put like numbered to set 175, and it's like only a $10 card. This one numbered to 175. That one's like a $5 card, but at least so people can see. And then after like the first couple pages, all the stuff that was like, maybe $3 to $5 or, $1 to $3, I just put, and it's like, I just tell them as they come by, all those are $3 to $5 because I was going to stick stickers on every single one of these. There's 5, I think this fits, I think it's like 512 cards or something. But so those were laid out on the table. And then, so after the case, the display case and the binders, that was really took up a lot of room. Okay. Now at this point in the card show, there was a few trades I think that had happened, but it wasn't too long before a guy had hit me up and he had presented a couple binders that he wanted me to look at. And he showed me these two binders of baseball cards. And so like I was kind of more on the anti-baseball, or I don't know. I wasn't going to collect baseball cards, to be honest with you guys, for the most part, until my kids started playing baseball. And it got me a lot more enthused about baseball. Plus, you got to remember, if you've followed my channel, all my cards got stolen or disappeared in a move. So, you know, I had so many baseball cards and nice baseball cards. So it's like a PTSD thing for me. Like, honestly, even actually me playing baseball, I probably should have played baseball, but that's a long story why I didn't. I probably would have been better at baseball than football. I just loved football more, and I'm like too active of a person and want to stand around. But I'll tell you what, you know, with helping like coach my kids and hitting, you know, just taking a baseball bat out or throwing a baseball with your son, you know, is a lot of fun. You know, so baseball isn't that fun to watch, but playing it, you know, definitely is fun. So, and with that World Series that happened last year, with Shohei Ohtani and you know the Judge and you know the Dodgers versus you know the New York Yankees, that was one of the most exciting World Series I've ever, you know, maybe ever, or that I've ever seen. You know, what's his name hitting that grand slam in the World Series last year for the Dodgers was freaking nuts. Freeman, I think, for the Dodgers. So that was pretty cool. So, you know, and but it's kind of crazy how many baseball fields you see out there. Like all the high schools, like a lot of schools used to have baseball fields, but a lot of them let grass grow over. Like you'll see the fence, like where the batting cage is and stuff, where you know they used to have a baseball diamond, but they just let the grass grow over, and you know they don't have a baseball diamond there anymore. So kind of sad, you know, America's game, you know, that used to be like big. It's not as big as it used to be, but I also think that can change. You know, I think sports always goes in waves. You know, when you have superstars like a Shohei Ohtani or something, you know, people get excited about it. So I think there's definitely a lot of hype in baseball right now, or a lot of you know opportunity. And if my oldest son, if he keeps at it, I think you know he might be able to do something really good with baseball versus maybe other sports. So really excited for his growth because he might be a natural at baseball and not even know it, kind of thing. Obviously, I'm going to be biased, but so we got those two binders. So I'll kind of explain what happened. So the guy comes up to me and and then I'll show like everything in the binder. So he comes up to me and he's like, all these baseball cards. And he's like, you know, I want like football. I want modern football. Or he asked me, I think he first asked if I'm willing to do like a trade. And I was like, well, it depends, you know. And he's like, well, I want to get into like modern football. He's like, I've collected these baseball cards. I've had them a long time, you know, and, you know, I just want to be, you know, I want to transition, you know, into like some football cards. I was like, well, what do you like? What kind of football players do you want or like? And so he's like, well, you know, I'm thinking like, you know, I'd like some Joe Burrow and some other guys. And you got to remember, you know, and this is why I kind of feel bad I didn't show you guys some of the stuff that I got rid of, all the stuff I've collected, but I had pretty much so I bought a couple of these pretty cool cases from like BCW or something. But these cases are pretty awesome. They lock, they have a handle that pulls up here so you can carry them. But they lock and then these flap open. So these are really nice for people to flip through like at a card show. So like you see all these cards here, you can easily like, you know, flip through them and see if there's anything you like. So I had one of those full or like half. Let me think about this. It was like half. I had two of these full. Sorry. So I had one side with baseball because I didn't have that much baseball. I had another side with football. And then I had a whole nother one of these of just football, of mainly like inserts. And a lot of there was some nice like football cards, but like I'll be honest with you, a lot of them weren't like bangers. They were a bunch of $3 to $5 cards, a bunch of cards that unless I would have sold them on Whatnot, most people probably wouldn't want. They weren't slab, they weren't PSA slabs, they're in top loaders and stuff. And then I had a box of stuff that was like a pretty big box. It was this size. And it was like what I called like Rookies Plus. So like pretty good sized box, right? And this was full, so it's like 3 rows. I counted at one point. It was like 1,000. So like there's like 1,000 cards or something, and some of them were like in top loaders. These are just like base cards. Flip it around to show you guys. These are all just base cards that I separated. Like this is literally like base of base. Where like the other ones I had rookies that were base rookies, but not like bangers, not like, and there's some like inserts and some numbered cards, but it wasn't a ton. And, so I told him, I was like, well, like, what are you thinking? At this point, I'm like, well, let me look at your binders and see what you got. I looked in the binders and it was like a childhood, like throwback. It was like all the cards that got stolen when I was a kid, a lot of them, not all of them. A lot of the cards that got stolen when I was a kid, plus some better ones, was like in these 2 baseball binders, and it's all like 90s junk, junk wax that nobody really wants or that everybody says is worthless. But to me, it's like, dude, if I get a deal for these 2 binders, it brings back some like childhood youth, of what got fucking taken from me. So for me personally, like I'm probably the only one that would have cared that much about the binders. And honestly, like I was at a point where I wanted to bless him. Like he was like in a wheelchair and stuff, and an older guy, and he wanted modern football. And honestly, I kind of wanted to get out of modern football. If I'm being real about it, I just had a lot of $1 to $3 to $5 cards that I just didn't want to mess with. And could some of those cards be worth money down the road? Maybe, but they're not going to be like 1,000. None of them are going to be like $1,000 cards. Like maybe one in like 1,000 cards might be $1,000 card. And the other ones, it's a bunch of like kind of, $3 to $5 cards kind of thing. And they're probably going to decrease in value as time goes on. So I was like, well, how about this to the guy? I was like, once I looked at the binders, I was trying to like mentally do an evaluation, and I knew what I wanted, like for my cards, like if I were to price it out, and I priced his binders. I probably overpriced it, but like I wasn't going to go through and, individually, price them and stuff. So, I put a value maybe around $1,200, and that was I was probably pretty generous versus what other people would have valued the binders at. And it's probably realistically like maybe 600, kind of thing. And what I wanted for my cards in the box that was like this is I wanted at least, like 800, is what 800, but I probably would have gone as low as 600 if someone would give me cash. That was kind of my thinking going into the card show, because I put a sign in front that says like make, offer for complete, package deal. And so, he goes through and he looks through every single card, and which is fine. And I just flipped through the pages, and, the binders were enough where I was like, let's do a trade. And so I went to my case where I had 2 Joe Burrow rookie cards. One was a PSA 10 and one was like a PSA 9, but they weren't banger rookie cards of Joe Burrow. They were nice, but like they were like those 2, I think were like maybe 350 or something. Plus the box, if you did the math on that, was, if we lowballed it, we'll say 600. So we're at like 950. And then I threw in a couple other cards that now, dude, everything was kind of crazy. And like there was, at this point, this is like when the card show was like, it was popping, like I'm trying to do a deal with him, but then both my sons are making deals, like selling cards, like literally. So it was pretty crazy, dude, and I'm just like, I'm just excited if we get the deal done kind of thing. And he had like his nephew or cousin or someone with him, and they asked like what I valued it at. And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I think it's a fair trade. And I was like, maybe 1,200, but that might be a little much. I said, I think your binders are probably worth between 800 and 1,200, somewhere in that range. And so, but I also told him, I said, look, nobody's going to give you what I'm going to give you in a deal here. I'm going to make sure you come out on top. And I did. So then I threw in a couple other cards, and I can't remember what they were, but I made sure at the end of it, like he came out on top. So like, shout out to Jimmy Guns, love you, Jimmy. He'd give me I bought a bunch of Deion Sanders from him, from Jimmy, and I'd collected a few more along the last year or so. And he was a big Deion Sanders fan because, he's like from Colorado, and Deion, coaches the football team here. So, but he was going to leave the Deion Sanders out of the trade. And I was like, you know what? Take these, So did that, and I went to my box and grabbed a couple other good ones. So I made sure at the end of it was at least 1,200. And some people might be like, you're an idiot. You traded for junk wax, and I don't think so. So for me, I was actually really happy about the trade. That was the highlight of the card show for me, was doing that deal. That deal and one other one at the very end that I'll go over with you guys, but that was huge for me. For me to get back like a piece of my childhood of like all my cards that I no longer have, meant a lot to me. So, and it meant more to me than it would have meant to someone else, I think, and he was happy as well. I made sure he was happy. Like, you good with this? And he's like, yeah. So he was more than happy. So we both came out of the trade happy, and I don't think I got ripped off, or if I did, I don't care, because I'm happy with what I got. So that was a huge one. And that was really the biggest transaction through everything, right? So, and that took a while. That took maybe a half hour, maybe even a little longer. Everything was going really quick. So, I'm going to flip the camera around here the best I can. And I'm going to show you guys these binders. And there's more than just the binders. This video is definitely going to be longer than I thought it was going to be, but I haven't gone live in a while, so you just got to be patient with me. I don't know if we should turn those lights off. Where's the remote? That's better. All right. So all my cards of his childhood was stolen as well. Damn, that sucks, bro. I'm sorry, man. So Mike McGuire is always my favorite baseball player. Nice. You get junk wax, high grade, PSA 10, they go for a lot, but that's a big if. So these cards, I'm going to show you guys, they're in extremely great shape. Oh, I got to turn the green screen off. That was the other thing. And that's kind of my, like, I don't, let's see how I can word this. I don't think he wanted to put in the time, because I kind of asked him through it. I don't think he wanted to put in the time to try to get stuff graded. You know what I mean? If I'm just being real with you guys. All right, there we go. So this could be like a 90s throwback. This is like the ultimate like junk wax era. And everybody says, right, like, junk wax, era is trash and it's never gonna be worth anything. I don't believe that. I really don't. Because to me, it's all supply and demand. If Fanatics, as they're taking over the license for, basketball and football, if you don't know, they're going to get the license for basketball coming up, I think it's October. It's like real soon. And then football is like next spring. When they get the license for, the monopoly that they're going to have, and they said they want to grow the market by the card market by 10%, it's going to take a lot for them to, be able to do that. Give me a second. I may have to turn off this other light. So much reflection. Let's see. Sometimes if I put it behind my screen here, it's so if I go up a little bit. Hold on. All right, let's try this. A little better. All right, we got a Nolan Ryan here. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to not hit this damn cord. And so that was when you're a one-man show. Okay. Robbie Ventura, Randy Johnson for the Mariners. You guys remember him? Nolan Ryan. And again, if you look at these cards, maybe not this Nolan Ryan's got a little nick right here. But a lot of these cards, like the corners especially, are in like really darn good shape, you know, which that's probably the thing that drew me to these cards probably the most, is that how well they were taken care of. And all my cards like are in top loaders and stuff, dude. I take care of my cards really well. Here's a Cal Ripken. You look at all these corners, you know, they're not, especially that bottom left corner. He like put him in here and just left it. So you said Mark McGwire, right? Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens. And he didn't double him. You know how a lot of people put like double? He only did like single. So Barry Larkin. Dude, is the camera moving? I swear to God, this thing is going to send my big bonkers trying to show you guys all this. Ryan Sandberg, Mike Socia, Robin Ventura, Barry Bonds. Look at that Barry Bonds, dude. Look how well it's like centered. I haven't pulled anything out, but look at like the corners. Like, I don't know what that Barry Bonds would be worth if it's a PSA 10 or this Barry Bonds, but that's in great shape, man. You know what I mean? And so for me, like, yeah, there's multitude of reasons why I did this, like my childhood, but also there's Randy Johnson, Steve Sachs, a lot of big name players. And like, he took really good care of these cards. Like he was the original owner and he's not trying to flip it. Like I could tell, you know what I mean? And there's some bigger names coming up. There's a Mark McGwire, freaking rest in peace, Ricky Henderson, guys. And so as I like kind of thumbed through it, I was just like, dude, I'm like, there's some freaking another Ricky Henderson. As like the more like I looked at it, you know, I was like, dude, because I want some Oakland A's cards, dude. Cards, guys. Oakland A's, I mean, you guys are gonna see. You know, if the A's doesn't trade away, there's Cal Ripken. Look at that. It's a cool card. If the A's doesn't trade away their good players that they have now, that's Barry Bonds. I mean, with Nick Kurtz and you know, this Jacob Wilson guy, I mean, the A's might be on the up and up. Jose Canseco, Bo Jackson. I mean, look at the Bo Jackson. That's like pretty well centered. Corners look pretty stinking good. I mean, I was like, you know, because a lot of the junk wax stuff, it's like not in good shape, dude. The corners are tore up, you know. It's like, you know, had 12 different owners or something. And so, you know, I think that's one of the things for me. Ozzie Smith. You guys remember Ozzie Smith did the backflips? George Brett. Isn't that crazy? Wade Boggs. Now we got George Brett Jr., dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's just so weird. Or no, is it George Brett? God. I'm trying to get up to date on some of the baseball stuff. I'm still way behind Wade Boggs. But I know there's a couple of these guys whose like sons are now in the league, you know what I mean? And so Randy Johnson. And this may not even be the best one. I don't know. The other binder might be, I think the other one has like some more well-known names where they're like kind of together. But there's, you got Tony Gwynn, Cecil Fielder, Andre Dawson, another Ricky Henderson All-Star. It's cool. That's a cool card, man. Well centered. Record breaker. How about Jose Canseco? How about Mark McGwire? So like a total throwback, you know what I mean? And maybe this stuff's readily available. Maybe you can buy it from someone else and get cards in, get this good a shape. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't care that much about that stuff. George Brett, Barry Larkin. And there's 2 other big deals I did too that I'll talk about in a second. Kirby Puckett. Cecil Fielder. George Brett. Ryan Sandberg. A's Dennis I can't even say it. Ekersley. I don't know. I probably said that wrong. How about Bo Knows? Bo Jackson. I can say that one. Tony Gwynn. George Brett. Sammy Sosa. Look at that Sammy Sosa. Look at that haircut, dude. That's throwback, old school Sammy Sosa. Hit Club, Nolan Ryan. Bunch of Nolan Ryans coming up. I don't know if that's this binder or the other one, but there is a bunch of Nolan Ryans and some other big name guys as well, to include Kenny Griffin. Ken Griffey, I mean, sorry. Bobby Bonilla. Mike Cecilia. That's Roger Clemens. There, Mark McGuire. And I wasn't looking to I was honestly trying to sell most of my stuff. I wasn't looking for a trade. That's a cool, look at that. Post Serial Barry Bonds. 94 collection. Even if junk wax is junk and not worth anything, the fact a postcard, a post baseball card, for Serial, that's got to be hard to get, dude. And that looks like it's in pretty good shape, the corners. Kirby Puckett. I could be wrong. Maybe the post Serial stuff is more readily available. I'm doing my best to try to show you guys, not to brag, to try to share. Hopefully you guys get some youth back in your lives as well, of cards you may have remember, stuff like that. So it's definitely not a bragging thing. Don't take it that way, please. Just trying to share the experience with you guys. Ozzie Smith. I'm actually really excited to share this with you guys. Bo Jackson, that's cool. Bo Jackson. Cal Ripken. Well, at least I didn't break any cards or anything. Wade Boggs. Jose Canseco. Fanatics already took over the NHL hockey. Did they? I thought Upper Deck was keeping in NHL. Remember Barry Bonds skinny as F? Yeah, right. I know. Dude, it's so funny you said that, because as soon as I was gonna say it, but I was like, I probably shouldn't. As soon as I saw the Barry Bonds card, I was gonna say, hey, Barry Bonds before. And I was like, no, I'll try to keep this professional. But yeah, dude. You ain't lying, bro. Larry Walker. How about that Nolan Ryan record breaker? And again, dude, look at the corners, dude. I know camera doesn't always do its justice. And maybe this will never be worth nothing, but dude, that Nolan Ryan is in freaking good shape. You could buy a brand new pack and probably, if you were to pull this card, it would probably not be in this good a shape. Right? Another George Brett. So, and some of these in time, I might try to send in to get graded and, see what happens. I do want to keep a lot of these, but some of these I might sell. I don't want to I'm not going to do a group sell or anything, but, I might, over time, like Ricky Henderson. Some of these are sick. My boy Q is a big Ricky Henderson fan, so I might get a few Ricky Henderson cards together to send his way as well. Here's some weird cards. Dream Team. I don't even know who that is. Let me look at the back of that one. It's Will Clark. You guys know who Will Clark is? It's some throwback or something. Cal Ripken. I think that's Wade Boggs. Let me see. Yeah, Wade Boggs. Kirby Puckett. there on the left. I don't know who this guy is, but you guys remember in the 90s they were doing these like individual pictures, like fucking so weird now. You like, because like you never see cards like that where it's like some modeling photo or something. It's kind of funny, dude. You know. And then here's some funny cards. Look at these ones. I forgot about these, dude. They got like big heads. Look at Barry Bonds, dude. Isn't that funny? And again, look at the corners. Tony Gwynn. Raymond Martinez. You guys are, as you guys are looking at this, just try to think kind of what I valued my stuff at, you know, where I'd say after the Joe Burrows, and if the box minimum 600, he probably got at least $1,000. He got between $1,000 and $1,200 worth of cards, I would say, if he was to sell all of them, you know. But you know, for me, like, you know, even a breaker wouldn't have gave me that kind of value. You know what I mean? Ricky Henderson. He's like got his shirt off and stuff. It's just funny, like how times have changed, and like you don't see stuff like that much anymore. So it's kind of look at this Nolan Ryan's right here. $1990 record breaker. I don't know who these other guys are to flip them over, but another Nolan Ryan there. Oh, come on. This cord for the camera keeps getting away. Sorry. It's, as long as you feel good, it's okay if you got. Yeah, I don't know. Darryl Strawberry. McGuire. George Brett. I mean, the guy, you know, he was like, I've always collected baseball. I want to get into football. I don't think he was trying to pull one on me either. So, you know, Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco. There was a lot of A's in here. That was the other reason I wanted, you know, another Mark McGuire. He put some labels on some of them. I pulled most of them off, but Mark McGuire, Ricky Henderson. It's cool, Ricky Henderson. I mean, I'll be honest, man, with, you know, rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. That was one of the reasons I kind of wanted this, if I'm being real with you guys. You know, there's more. I'm pretty sure there's more Ricky Hendersons coming up too. I don't remember if it's this binder or the next one, but when I kind of saw how many Ricky Hendersons there were, I was like, you know what? Sammy Sosa. I think this thing keeps tilting down, dude. I swear. On its own. Darryl Strawberry for the Dodgers. Fernando Venezuela. Dang, I've already been going for an hour. Kirby Puckett. So you guys stay till the end. I'll be opening up a box of cards. Mark McGwire. And I got a bunch of A's cards I'm going to show you guys I've gotten outside of this. A few cool ones. Cal Ripken. Barry Bonds. Kurt Schilling. Tony Gwynn. A lot of Tony Gwynns. It was pretty good if I remember right. Ozzie Smith. Waiting to do a backflip. Barry Bonds. Cal Ripken. Ozzie Smith. That was one thing I always remember about Ozzie Smith is him doing like backflips on the field and stuff. Mark McGwire. The mullet. And it's funny because the mullet is back. How about that, Ricky Henderson? That's his label, not mine. But the guy that got it from. Mike Piazza. Getting close. All right. Sandberg. How about that? Nolan Ryan. I think pretty sure the other binder has a bunch of Nolan Ryans more than this. Like a bunch of Dodgers here. For all you Dodger fans, like my homie Gabriel, Eric Karros. Sure, there's got to be some of you guys. I wasn't huge into baseball, and like I wasn't an A's fan, so I don't remember, him or some of those other guys, but some of you guys do. George Brett, that's a cool picture. How about Bo Jackson? And some of these Bo cards I have. But there's this one, Bo Jackson. Honestly, I don't even remember that card. We got 2 more pages, I think. 85, record breaker. Fernando Valenzuela, Los Angeles Dodgers. Who remembers him? It's a Dodger. Remember Kirk Gibson, grand slam to win against what's it, MIAS? Was it Mariners or something? Carlton Fisk, Roger Clemens. I remember him. 86 record breaker. Boston Red Sox, most strikeouts, 9-inning game. That record's probably broke now, I'm sure, but it's kind of cool. Player of the decade, George Brett. A lot of George Bretts. Reggie Smith. Mark McGwire with his mullet. And mullets are back. Who would ever thought mullets would be back? Now you got people wearing mullets all over the place. All right, and that's it for that binder. So one more binder, and then there's some other bigger cards, or I think they're bigger. Little package of cards that he gave me as well. So he gave me all his baseball. And these look at the other thing is look at these binders, the cover. I don't think these are modern, dude. I think these binders are the original binders from the 80s, bro. Look at this. Look at this catcher's mask and look at those cleats. When was the last time you saw cleats like that? Or this helmet here. All this screams 80s, maybe 90s, I bet you these are the original binders that the dude has had for like 40 years or something, dude, right? Like seriously. So that's like even the binders are kind of like vintage, you know? I didn't even notice that till I got home and I was like, wait. I was like, man, I think these binders are like the original binders. I don't think he just like bought the binders and put all these cards in here after years, you know? I think this was the binder that had some cards that I was like, man, I really want this. So Bo Jackson, Nolan Ryan, bunch of Nolan Ryans coming up here. Kirby Puckett, George Brett, another Ricky Henderson. The Big Hurt. So I like the A's and the White Sox because of Bo Jackson, you know, ended up playing for the White Sox, and Frank Thomas. And because their colors are black and white, close to like Raider colors. So that's a cool Frank Thomas. I am going to pull all these cards out and I'm going to put them in top loaders and stuff. Just haven't had a chance to do it yet, but I'm going to do it to where they're protected better. Because like some of these, like even right here, it's like coming out of the. But here's another page of Frank Thomas. I used to have a bunch of Frank Thomases. I know I had that one. I know I had a lot of these. I know I had this one, that one. All these are Frank Thomas. So 2 pages of Frank Thomas, 3 pages of Frank Thomas. And I'll tell you, I had a ton of Frank Thomas cards. I don't remember how many pages. It was probably 2 or 3. My Bo Jackson was like freaking 9 or 11 pages or something. Here comes the Griffey. So some of those Frank Thomases could be worth money if they grade a good like PSA 9 or 10. I don't know, and maybe it's possible some of these Griffies could be, you know, worth something if they grade out, you know, and maybe even some of the George Brett, you know, I don't know, but you know what I do know is a lot of these corners are in pretty darn good shape, and that's hard to find. And you know they oh, that was 2 Frank Thomases there. Forgot to flip that page. You know, what people don't understand is there was a junk wax era from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, but they threw a bunch of cards in the lake. I forget the name of the lake, but they took a bunch of the supply out of the market. And then it was like, then the cards became more valuable. What if they were to do that with our era, especially with Topps being the top dog? What if they decide to just buy a bunch of the junk wax and, you know, burn it or something or throw it away and take the supply out, you know? Then it could make the junk wax cards not junk, which is exactly what they did with the other ones, you know? So much more Griffies. And I'm telling you, you go to any one of these cards, centered might be another thing, but like just look at the corners. And I had a lot of Griffies. I don't remember if I had this many, if I'm being honest. I know I had a lot, but I mean, like, I think we're on page, this is 2 or 3 of Griffey. This is page 3 of Griffey. So 3 pages of Griffey at least. You know, I might have had that many, but these ones, I don't care much about these. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's Barry Bonds, I guess, but these weird kind of like they're posing for, you know, some sort of magazine or something. It's just kind of weird to me. It's like kind of weird because some of these are almost in like an order and some of these really aren't, I guess. But it's a Ricky Henderson, probably stealing a base right there, like he did. Rest in peace, Ricky. Mark McGwire. You think the Griffey Upper Decks? I think the Griffey Don Ross is a rookie card. Yeah, I got to do research on that. You might be right. That might be his rookie card. I don't know. Checking this one. I think you're right. I think that is his rookie. It probably shouldn't be in the binder. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. What was the other one you said? Don Ross? Trying to find the Don Ross one. That's the first one. Oh, this one maybe. Oh, that's 90. I don't think that is. Wasn't he drafted in like 87 or something? Let's see. 89. It was 89. But yeah, thanks for calling that out. Yeah, I need to get these like in the proper protection, not oh, if we looked at that one, I think we did. Not in these this binder. So these they're gonna go in top loaders, and then if I put them in a binder, they're gonna go in that binder like I did for my kids. It's the thing when you have kids, you end up like, I want to do this for myself, and you're like, I should probably do it for my kids first, you know. I don't know who these guys are. These Pinnacle Shade guys. How about Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, another George Brett. I mean, the amount of like just Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco is pretty impressive, you know. All right, the back of those shades with Darryl Strawberry, Danny Tartable, Bobby Bonilla. I know this isn't the best way to do this. It'd be a lot easier if I could just hold a camera. I need to look into getting a different camera that doesn't like, because my camera automatically moves. It's not doing it right now, which is surprising, but Lloyd Boggs. Bobby Bonilla. About some more Jose Canseco. I mean, this guy definitely cared about his cards. That's probably the thing that attracted me the most is like all these cards, like he cared about them. They wouldn't be in this kind of shape if he didn't, like, you know, take really good care of them, I feel like. Cal Ripken, Barry Bonds. I mean, the amount of Barry Bonds and George Brett's pretty great, like impressive too. You know what I mean? Don Mattingly, he was pretty popular. The Yankees back in the day, and Cal Ripken, a lot of Cal Ripkins. Not a huge fan of him, but I know there's a lot of people that were. Another George Brett, Jose Canseco. How about that Ricky Henderson? That's pretty cool. Sliding. It's like airborne. How about Bo Jackson? Bo knows. Wade Boggs. Barry Bonds. Cal Ripken Jr., Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire, Nolan Ryan. It's cool, Nolan Ryan. Not centered that well, but again, corners are nice. Mark McGwire, corners, nicey. It was like a Colorado Rockies section. This might be the first year. I don't know. Even though I live in Colorado, I'm not a Rockies fan. I don't know when they first started as a franchise. This might be like their first year in existence, expansion draft class, complete 23 card set, Donruss 1993. So maybe this is their complete set, I'm assuming, or that maybe previously was or something. I don't know any of these other guys, to be honest with you. I like Bill Ripken more than Cal. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Bill. Rookie cards are worth cha-ching cards. Back then, the second year was okay money. Okay. Appreciate that, James. All right. Oh, maybe this is the complete set of the Colorado Rocky guys. I don't know any of these guys, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Rockies isn't what sold me at all. I could care less. I could find someone here in Colorado that wants these Rockies. I'll sell them, all of them. Like I said, for me, it's mainly A's and White Sox, but then I do like to collect certain other guys like Nolan Ryans and, like the famous guys when I was, a kid or whatever. King Griffey Jr. More Rockies. I'm sure I'll find a good owner eventually for these Rocky cards here in Colorado. I don't even know if most of these guys are probably nobodies, is my guess. I don't know. But there's a lot of Rocky fans here. I'm not one of them, so I'm just going to flip through any of the Rocky stuff left. All right, let's see what else we got. All right. Cal Ripken. Ricky Henderson. Maybe he had him kind of in sets. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to figure out his method is madness. But here's a page I really like. Check out some of these, dude. This is like some old school stuff. I don't even know what year this is, but look at that Ricky Henderson. Tim Raines, Robert Ramos, Bobby Pate or Pat. Look at that Nolan Ryan. Jeez, dude. When he played for the Astros, pretty crazy. How about Dave Winfield? The top corner might be a little messed up, looks like. But how about that Ricky Henderson? Look at that Nolan Ryan, played for the Angels. Those corners aren't the best, but still pretty cool. Like throwback. I think it's when I got to this page is like what sold me. This might have been the first binder I looked at. When I saw this, I was like, eventually I'll send some. Look at that Ozzie Smith. He played for the Padres. It's like a Reggie Jackson. That card's not in very good shape at all, but I mean, I don't even know what year that is. It's got a Yankees. That's got to be pretty old. Probably 1979. It's probably the year of that card. Steve Sachs for the Dodgers. Looks like we've got some other Dodgers up here. Dave Lopes. '75 record breaker. Steve Garvey. We got some Dodgers in the house, some fans, so just kind of show you guys some of that. At least bring you guys back some memories. I do remember this dude, Tom Lasorda. Like, I remember that, especially. I kind of posed from that dude. General manager or whatever. That wouldn't be a card set without a Pete Rose, man. Look how old school that card is. Bill Russell. Let's see what year that Pete Rose is. Probably 1980. What we got here? Jim Rice. The Red Sox. Whitty Herzog. Oh, sorry, the cord is keeps getting in the way. That's like I'm gonna have to reroute that thing. All right. What we got? Pedro Guerrero, Fernando Valenzuela. We got some old school George Brett right here. Look how goofy he looks at that picture on the left. And I don't know. I don't know if there's some of these George Bretts. I know there's some guys like that guy, Ty Wilson. There's the cardboard collecting show, Chasing Cardboard. He's a big George Brett fan, I'm pretty sure, because he likes the KC. But there might be other guys too. Rod Carew. Astros. Or Expo, sorry. Mike Schmidt. And here we go. Pete Rose, rest in peace. I never had hardly any Pete Rose cards, you know, if I'm being honest with you guys. So that was the other thing for me to get a binder with Pete Rose, who passed away. Maybe most of these aren't in great shape, you know, I'll be honest, but me to get some Pete Rose without me having to go out and hunt them down, and I don't know what they should even be worth. I just thought it was kind of cool, you know. Might send some in to get graded eventually, but Ozzie Smith. Willie Stargell. The Pirates. Look at those uniforms. I forgot how ugly their uniforms were back in the day. Look at that hat. That's funny. Johnny Bench. Carlton Fisk. Sox. Look at that. Eddie Murray. I thought it said Eddie Murphy at first. All right, almost done with this binder. I thought this was going to take a little bit. I didn't think these binders were going to take this long. I forgot how many cards are in here. I've been focusing on all the other stuff. Ricky Henderson. Another Ricky Henderson. How about Reggie Jackson? Dave Winfield. Greg Nettles. Reggie Jackson. Some cool Reggie Jacksons, actually. Like those. Look better in an A's uniform. Joe Morgan. Steve Carlton. Ken Griffey. Senior. Ken Griffey's pops. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Wonder what year that is. Might be 1981, maybe. Ozzie Smith. Now we're going to try to pronounce that guy's last name. Carl. Well, that Reggie Jackson. This last page. 2 more. Almost done. Another Ricky. Barry. Willie McGee. Lou Brock. Cal Ripken. Oh, Hank Aaron. Most runs batted in lifetime, 2,262. Hank Aaron. 75 record breaker. Rest in peace, Hank Aaron. Rich. Go Sausage. Robin Ventura. Dave Righetti. Look at his mustache. Rolling fingers. Rolly fingers. Like, you can't make that up, dude. His mustache is like that. Man. Tommy John. And I think that's it for the binders. Thank goodness, because that was a lot. So we got the binders, and then hold on. I forgot these binders. You got to be careful there. You damage the cards. All right. That's over. I think I need a smoke break, man. All right, here we go. Should we turn the light back on? not too bright. All right, these are the cards from the card show of that same trade. Don't worry, I didn't take nearly that long to do the trade. Oh, that helps or not. I feel like the oh, hold on. All right, I'm going to flip through these pretty quick. But Jose Canseco, Mark McGuire, Frank Thomas. Some of these he put like prices on the back. I don't know which ones he did, but here's a King Griffey Jr. I think he was starting to like price them out. He would put like PSA 10 and 74, just like how much it would be, I think, if it was a PSA 10. Well, if it was a PSA 10, I just made it PSA 8 because I dropped it. But a lot of these wouldn't be a PSA 10 or whatever he was thinking. So anyways, King Griffey. So like PSA 10, 82. I don't know how accurate these are. Meaning, I don't know how accurate when he puts PSA 10. I don't know how old that is, or if that's up to date, or I don't know if he was thinking that, like, say, this card would get a PSA 10, because I can tell you right now it wouldn't. So that corner, but Nolan Ryan, he had 76 for PSA 10. There's a Ricky Henderson. That's a really cool Ricky. Put that at 49 for PSA 10. Another Ricky. All-time stolen base leader. I wonder if he still leads the base leader. Authentic 215. I don't know what that is. Chipper Jones. Wade Boggs. Steve Carlton. PSA 10. PSA 10, 2,339. Yeah, but this is like a PSA 6 or something. Frank Thomas, 213 for PSA 10. Jim Rice. So he might put these prices, but like these are way like off. I didn't even look at those prices when we were doing the trade. I didn't even factor that in because I already knew Ricky Henderson. That's pretty cool, Ricky. That one, maybe not centered, but 183 for PSA 10. Might get a 9. Cal Ripken, 132 for PSA 9. Ricky. It's a pretty cool Ricky. Besides the corner, that's what most of these corners do. They fold, man. That's why when they're in the binder, I was like so happy. I was like, oh, no one messed with it because I can put them in here without messing up the corners, but a lot of other people can't. So I don't remember if I got this from him. I might have got this from somebody else, but whatever. I got thrown in here. Raul Acuna Jr. That might have been another trade or got mixed up from my cards. Ryan Sandberg. I'm pretty sure that Ronald Acuna isn't his. Another Ronald Acuna. Yeah, 2025. I think that one's from one of my packs. Steve Carlton. Dodgers. Pedro Martinez. Pitcher. Bob Boner. Cal Ripken. Jeff Schneider. Barry Bonds. PSA 10, 108. Award winners. I don't know who this is. Paul Molitor. Never heard of that guy. He might be good, but Carlos Briga for the Cleveland Indians. 287 for PSA 10. Matt Williams. Dream Team. Tony Gwynn. Dave Parker. Frank Thomas. The Big Hurt. 37. Ozzie Smith. 165 PSA 10. Award winners. Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas. Toys R Us. How often do you see a Toys R Us card, dude? I don't know if this is worth anything or it might be worth something, but this is like one I'd want to keep for a while. Toys R Us, they're out of business, you know? Like that's kind of cool. And then Tim Salmon. I think this is one of my cards too. Pretty sure. But looks cool. Tim Salmon. All right. So that's it for that trade. And that was just one trade. I didn't take that long. I just kind of glanced at it. I was like, I'll give you this. Do you want to do it? All right, let's go. And then I got helping other people. All right. So sorry it took so long. Move this out of the way. I really need a cigarette break. All right. This is the rest of the card show right here coming up. I understand the method, his method in putting cards behind and binders, though. There's no system. I understand what he was going for. I was confused on that, too. I agree, bro. Because that FF card. Never seen Griff like that. He put if cards gets PSA 10 worth that much, so only worth that grade. Yeah, I mean they're only gonna be worth what they're graded. But I can tell you, most of those cards aren't gonna be a PSA 10. I don't know if he was trying to make people excited, like, oh, this card, if you grade it, it could be worth this. Well, a lot of things could be and end up not being that way. So, all right, my son. All right, get into some other ones. These other ones are kind of maybe a little cooler, hopefully, for you guys. I know that's probably boring for a lot of you guys, but I did want to share with you. So, my son made a trade. I think he made the first trade. This guy comes up. He has two cards in this old school. This is pretty funny. This like old school plexiglass, dude. It's got like screws. So if you don't know, back in the day, this was how like people protected cards. It was like this piece of plexiglass and they had like screws. If it was one card, it would be like maybe like this big, right? And it would have like, 4 screws in it. And that was the thing to protect cards. And they realized in time that was not the right way to protect cards. So they came up with these cool, ones like this that are, magnetic and, they're like recessed in. So the card sits in there pretty flat. They're called one touches, and you get them depending how thick the card is. Most standard cards are going to be 35 point. But back in the day, they didn't do that. You just put your cards in this and you screwed them down, and people didn't think it was going to damage the cards, but they do. Back in the day, people thought, oh, if you had a plastic thing, it was going to be great. So this guy comes up, he's got 2 cards in here, and he wants to do a trade. So kind of ask what he's looking at. We had like a Luka Doncic card for the Mavericks, Dallas Mavericks, but obviously he's on the Lakers now. It was about $100 card. It was a graded, I think it was a PSA 10 or maybe it was a SGC 10, but it was like around $100 card. And he came up with 2 cards, and so one of these cards was like this on the back. And then the other one was like this. So they're like that. And just so happens, okay, this one is, just a regular card, right? This is Dan Marino. And look at the year, 1994. Nothing crazy, just Upper Deck, right? And then this card is autographed, Dan Marino. And it's not the best autograph. You can see it down here. But it's 95 out of 1,000. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be, like, in that case, if it was going to be, like, a good deal. It was only $100, so I was like, whatever, you know. But it does have this, like, authentication, you know, that it's, like, certified by Upper Deck. That's, like, a real legit, like, autograph, you know. It's not just, you know, somebody got autographed and just, you know, wrote on 95 of 1,000. So that's kind of Upper Deck's way of ensuring, like, the card is legit for the autograph. So this is a card I would like to send in to get graded, even though the autograph isn't that good. But it is, you know, when I pulled the card out, it was kind of scary, I'll be honest. I unscrewed this plastic piece, and the cards were stuck. Like, because one was like that, one was like this. They were literally stuck on the plexiglass, dude, after I took out the screws. So that kind of scared me. I was afraid it was going to peel some of the you know, card. And I'll be honest, I'm not experiencing this. I didn't know what to do. It kind of slipped as I unscrewed it, and it kind of went like that. And I could see, like, the card kind of, one of the cards shook a little bit. I think it was this one, the one that was like not the autograph one. And then no, actually the autograph was face down. It was like this. That was the side was stuck, and it was like that. So I was worried it was going to mess up the autograph. And then I saw this card, the non-autograph one, kind of shake. And then I just took my breath and I blew under the card to create like a vacuum, and the card kind of flapped, and then it let loose, and nothing peeled off of it. So I got lucky because I was really worried that, like, some of it was going to stick or it was going to mess up the card. And then I looked at it in the light and with the corners and stuff, it actually looked really good. Because this case is so scratched up, it's like hard to see if, like, how good the card might be or not be. So that was kind of one of the first trades, is that I might keep that plexiglass just to show people. It's kind of funny to me. You know. So that was one of the first trades, Dan Marino autograph for $100 Luka Doncic. I think if, you know, send that, and look, of all the, like, you know, quarterbacks from my childhood, I think Dan Marino's the best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. Him and Jim Kelly are probably the two best quarterbacks to never win a Super Bowl. But I would say especially Dan Marino. He was such a good quarterback. All right. My son traded. I think he did a trade. We got these two cards with nothing too crazy. Just I mean, it is cool, you know, Brock Bowers, but it's not worth, like, anything in this. Steph Curry's kind of cool. Don't mind collecting some of them. Then my youngest son, he did a trade for a Lionel Messi card. It's like about $100 card. I have no idea who this guy is. It's numbered 7 out of 25. And we were going to sell it. We're like, if we make $25 off it, whatever. But the one thing I will say, like, Lionel Messi, he's a great player and all that. But at some point, the dude's going to retire and reach a limit. And, you know, so maybe this guy has more upside. The Messi card, it was nice, but it was like, even though it was graded, I think a 9.5 or 10, it wasn't autographed or anything. And it was only worth like 75 to $100. So oldest son did a trade, and I apologize, I don't remember what it was. I don't know too much about Max Christie, but my oldest son did a trade, and he got this Max Christie card. I should tip this down a little bit. So it's a SGC 1010 autograph. I think it was like about $100 trade or something or equivalent. So he did that one. And then he did another trade. And some of these I think he sold, but I think that one was a trade. We did sell stuff. But I didn't write anything down, and I didn't take video. Everything was going so fast. I don't know. I'd have to have like a small video camera or something going all times. And, you know, just, it's hard when you got a lot of commotion, a lot of people around. All right. Here's Shaquille O'Neal, 2015 National Treasure. This one's numbered 10 out of 25, but that's like of his like rookie year. Look how skinny he looks. It doesn't even look like Shaquille O'Neal, dude. Right? Like, doesn't that look like a whole different person? It's supposed to be like of his rookie year kind of thing. So PSA 8, but he did that, I think, in a trade, and he was trying to sell that for 80, or going to try to sell that one for 80. I don't know if he put a price tag on this one. I guess 60. I don't know much about Max Christie and if he has potential. But if he has potential, maybe he shouldn't sell it. Maybe she'll hold on that for a while. You know what I mean? I don't know. All right. I did a trade. I don't remember what it was, what I traded. Here's a Ronald Acuna Jr. It wasn't like much, but I was like, I think I paid like 20 or 25 or equivalent to like the trade. And so I was like, if I can make $10 off it, whatever. And if not, I think Acuna Jr. has a lot of potential. So I was like, you know what? I don't mind keeping that. So here's a pretty cool Jamar Chase card I got. Did that one a trade? Apologize. I don't remember what I traded for it, though. Probably going to put this in a one touch, not just a top loader, but for now, it'll work. Oh, are we already to that point? I think so. All right. So a couple things. This is Cal Raleigh, right? It's going to be MVP. What's going to happen? It's doing pretty good. It's numbered 5 out of 50. But the way it is on like the gold, you actually see it better on here than like in regular light. It's actually really hard to see that it's numbered 5 out of 50. I didn't have a label on there originally, and because there were some cards I didn't have a chance to label because everything was just going so quick, and I was like last minute trying to get everything going. Dude came up, offered me $15, and I hate to like do this or be like this, but I didn't realize it was a number card. But so originally I was like, yeah, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get $15. He wasn't a kid; he was like in his 20s. But you know, and he comes back, and I was like, hey, I didn't realize it was numbered to 50. Like, I can't do $15 on that. So, and if he ends up being a stud or like continues to do good this year or in the future, like I like that gold, and this would look really good in like a PSA slab, and it's worth more than $15. So the dude tried to like, you know, I think pull one over on me, and anyways, once I told him I wasn't gonna accept 15, he was like upset, and I'm sorry, dude. I didn't recognize it was only that was numbered to 50. What else? So I didn't have these out. I don't know how many of you guys I've shown these. So I've been collecting some Tom Brady's, and there's more that I'll show you guys in time. But none of them are as big as these two Tom Brady cards right here. These are ones like I'm at a point where I'm just not even going to bring them to the card show anymore. Every time I bring them, like these ones, I didn't even put out. I'll be honest with you guys, because I don't want to sell them. I think Tom Brady's highly undervalued. I know some people, you know, have their opinion about Brady, and like I do as well. I really didn't like him, but I think it's a good like business investment, like for Tom Brady cards. So this one, like I did a trade value of like at least $350, and it's a 10-10. This is called a camo refractor. So this card is actually smaller than most cards. Like if you were to hold up like a regular card, you know, it's a little bit smaller, both directions. Anyways, it's a perfect 10-10, and this one is numbered out of 99. 76 out of 99, and this is year, I think this is 2015. This might be the year that he what was the year that he went against the Falcons in the Super Bowl? It might be that year. I don't know. Or maybe this was, I don't remember which year this was. So anyways, trade value, I did at least $350 for this, and I had to pay some cash out of pocket, but I like it. The green border and stuff. I know it's hard to see in the sleeve. But you know, every time I've taken it out or do trades, people like really try to lowball me, and they're like using, you know, apps that track, selling, when sales have happened. But there's a huge problem with the apps, guys. I mean, it really pisses me off. It's nice to have something that can, like, you can do like a comp, price. There should be something out there to help with it. But there's huge faults in it, because if I buy a card from a card shop, it doesn't show that transaction of what I paid for the card. If I buy a card at a card show, it doesn't show, in that app what, I paid for it at a card show. If I buy something on Whatnot, it's not going to show, or Fanatics Live, it's not going to show what the card is worth. It's not going to show the true value, because it doesn't show what I paid for a card. So someone will look this up and they'll be like, well, the last transaction is like $280 or something. And sometimes these guys are using, like, trying to comp a card, and it may not even be a 1010, or it may not even be out of the same number, like out of 99. Sometimes it's like out of like 125 or 150, and they're trying to like use it to try to bring down like the price, And for me, if I bought it for 350, I'm not selling it for 350. I might sell it for 600 or 550, but I'm not selling it for 350. It's pretty simple. Like, I'm not doing this to make a negative amount of money. And this one is probably, in my opinion, the best looking Tom Brady. Like, it's not, if not the best, one of the best Tom Brady cards there is. This is a gold chrome, and the reflection on this thing and how sweet this thing looks is freaking amazing. It's only a PSA 9. I think the only reason it's a PSA 9 is because it's a little tight on the centering here as opposed to here. But this is one of my most expensive cards in my collection, especially that's not a Raider. And, I traded, it was like over 500. I traded cards and cash to include a Shohei Ohtani rookie for this Tom Brady. It was like a base rookie. It wasn't like a huge, Ohtani like card, but I still traded a big card and a few other cards to get this. It was like 3 cards and then like a couple $100. So, like for me, if I buy this for 600, dude, like the lowest I would go is like 800, but really this is $1,000 card. This should be $1,000 to $1,500 card, and then, people will like, look it up and they'll be like, well, it's like only 260 or 300. And I'm like, dude, you're out of your darn mind. I don't care what your app says. Like, I know what I paid for it and I know what the card is worth. And anybody that's a Tom Brady collector, look it up. Try to find a gold chrome. There's a few sales out there, but a lot of them aren't like the exact same, PSA 9 or whatever. And this has a low pop report, meaning there's not a whole lot of PSA 9s out there. So, I go to the card show. I'm not even putting these cards out, guys. Like, literally, it's to the point where, like, I don't even want these out on the floor, because I'm tired of like arguing with people about what their app says versus the true value of these cards. The value is whatever the fuck you're going to whatever someone's going to pay for it, or don't. But I'm not going to sell it for, I'm not selling this for $300, and I'm not selling this for 200 or 250. Like, get fucked, that sounds harsh. I know there's probably kids that listen to this, so I probably shouldn't do that. But like, I'm just being real about it. Like, the price is what someone's willing to pay for it, and I'm not going to sell it for anything under $1,000, So I had a dude try to, talk me. I let him see my Brady cards. I don't remember if I offered or whatever, but I had these in my case. I let him look at it, and he's like, oh, I'm a Brady collector. And he tried to, do the same thing that's been done to me other times for these 2 cards. And I'm not selling them, dude. I'm not. So that's just pretty simple. So I'm not in a rush to sell those. And you know what? If it takes 5 years and this is $1,000 or $1,500 card, so be it. But in 10 or 15 or 20 years, if this ends up being a $5,000 card, then so be it as well. Because his cards, Tom Brady is highly undervalued for his price, and his cards are going to go up as far as I'm concerned. So, all right, the last big trade of the card show is this one right here. This was massive. Okay, so do you guys remember? I had a Tua Tagovailoa autographed helmet that I got in a break. I wanted to get like $300 or $350 for that helmet, but realistically it was like, should have been at least a $250 helmet. It was autographed. It had Tua Tagovailoa's autograph on it, and then it had the area code of the Dolphins. It was really a nice helmet. It wasn't Like it was a replica helmet, so it wasn't like an official helmet, you know, like a speed helmet, but it still looked good. Had a guy come up and he was a Dolphins fan, and I was tired of like moving this helmet, dude. It sat in my closet. You know, I'm not a Dolphins fan. I just want to, you know, move it along and hopefully go to like a Dolphins collector. Had a guy, he was interested in it, but then he's like, let me walk around. And I was like talking to him, and I'm like, dude, like, please just take, you're a Dolphins fan, dude. I'm like, please take the helmet. Like, you know. And so he comes back, and I came down from 250 to like 200. So I already came down a lot. It's a full size helmet, dude. It's not a mini. It's Tua Tagovailoa. And he gave me a cash offer, and I was trying to get these 3 cards. I was looking at these 3 cards to my neighbor the entire like card show, right? And well, I was really looking at like 2 of these cards, but the third one was like kind of icing on the cake. So anyways, he offered me $175 for the Tua helmet, and I decided to take it so I could make this deal. Like at this point, you know, we had made a little bit of money. We did sell some cards and stuff at the card show. But it wasn't enough where I wanted to spend as much as I spent on these 3 cards, you know, at that point of the card show. So I get $175 for that. And then there was another guy that came up, and you remember my gray case that I showed you guys, the big gray case? This is probably, of all the deals, this was probably the worst one. He said, I'm a Raider fan. I'll never buy a Brady card. I agree. And I felt that way my entire life, but I hate to say it, but business is business. And I'm doing this not because I'm a Brady fan. I'm doing it because of business. And I hate to say that, but it's just reality. You know, those cards are going to be worth money. And, you know, I mean, like, what if you were, I guess, back in the day, a Detroit Pistons fan? I think that was the ones that really hated the Bulls and Jordan or whatever, you know? I mean, imagine if you're like, I'm not buying any Michael Jordans because, you know, Michael Jordan's the devil and he beat my Pistons, which might be true, right? But Michael Jordan cards, like, there's Michael Jordan cards worth $50,000, $100,000, fucking, you know, $1 million, literally. Do you guys know a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant dual autograph card, 1 of 1, just sold for $12.9 million? Let me repeat that. If you don't know, look it up. Look up highest selling sports card in history, just sold to some like business investors and stuff, like the dude from Shark Tank, for $12.9 million, $13 million, right? And yeah, I'm not saying that Brady card will be 12.9, but you never know. Some of these cards might be worth like bank, especially Brady's, because they're highly undervalued. Anyway, so to me, money is money, and I'm doing it for business. So do I still not like him and stuff to some degree? Yeah, but I like money. So anyways, oh, this is the wrong one. I don't know why I grabbed this one. The gray case. I had the gray case, and this dude comes up, and he makes an offer to me, and he's like, oh, I put it over here. Sorry. He comes up, and I got a gray case that's, I don't know, I'd say fairly full of like football cards in it. So it's right after the helmet deal, and it's like right at the end of the card show, right before I go walk around and see kind of what other, you know, tables were set up and stuff. And he's got, or I have pretty much like a case like this, 2 rows that's left, because I didn't trade that guy for the 90s cards. I didn't trade him all of my like inserts and stuff. It was just what was in that cardboard box that I showed you earlier. So I still had quite a bit of stuff that was still nice. And he comes up, you know, it's probably like 1 row about like this, and then like half a row like this. And he offers me stinking an offer of $300 for all of it. And he said he's a breaker. And, you know, I know what breakers do. I mean, I buy from breakers, you know. And, you know, he's going to sell them and probably make some good money off them. But it was like the end of the show, and I'm trying to get these 3 cards to get ready to show you guys. And probably should have got like 350 or 400, maybe a little more, but I didn't care, to be honest with you guys, because I wanted these 3 cards, and I just got done talking to this guy, and he was going to sell these 3 cards. He wanted 475 for these 3, and he gave me a good deal on it, which I appreciate, but for 425. So you have 3 Kobe Bryant cards, and these are all like rookie cards, okay? So PSA 9, and I think some of these I could crack open, like I think this one, and I think this might grade a PSA 10 if I reship it in. 1996 Fleer. These prices are on the back of what he lists them for, $75. I don't think that's a $75 card, and I'm willing to hold on to it, you know. So there's a Kobe there. And we have this with a coating, Kobe Bryant Finest PSA 9. And these 3 cards, this is something that, again, 97, so it's rookie. This is something you hold on, and he, like, these are his personal cards. Like, he didn't flip these. He said he opened these in the packs back in the day. This old guy, you know, but he was trying to get he wanted to sell them because he had a yard project he had to do, so landscaping or something. Had this one for 100, so not too bad, right? But again, maybe this one could be cracked open and sent in to try to get a PSA 10, which I might do. And then this one, this is my favorite. This is the most expensive one. But that's like a pretty freaking, look at that reflection and stuff. It's pretty badass Kobe Bryant, right? 96 Flair Showcase, row 2. 300. Spot 10s. This I think might be able to get a PSA 10 as well. And if this one, really any of them, but especially this one, if this could come back a PSA 10, you're talking this thing would be worth bank. And the guy said, when I sent him in, he's like, I was really surprised they didn't get a PSA 10. So, but that was the big trade. So the point is, I was able to trade the Tua Tagovailoa helmet, essentially trade or sell that helmet plus selling the rest of a lot of my like inserts. None of these were Raiders. I didn't sell any of my Raiders stuff. I don't even take that with me. But you know, that dude, the breaker that offered me $300 and made a deal, and it came out to, you know, I guess total 425. So I guess 300 plus the 175. You know, that gave me enough money just to pay for the Kobe cards out of pocket. So I would have had, the point is, we would have had a little bit of profit, but instead I pretty much took the profit and invested it in the Kobe Bryant, the Mamba, the GOAT, one of the GOATs. I think Jordan's the GOAT, but anyways, Kobe's right there, you know, and rest in peace. So my son likes Kobe. He's got a lot of Kobe's. He's got like some rookies, but not like not graded. And these are in really nice shape. And to get them from the original owner, they opened them from packs. You know, I think was important to me. I think it was important to him too. It was hard for him to get rid of them, but yeah, I appreciate them, and I'm gonna, you know, keep them. I'm not bringing these to the card show. I'm not, you know, these ones, like, moving forward, these are staying at the house. These are like long-term investment kind of things. And then same with the Tom Brady's. These are probably not going to the card show anymore. So these are all going to stay behind. So I don't even have to argue with people and stuff. And I think it'd just be better off, because for my mental health, I get frustrated when people are trying to like tell me how much my card is worth. And I'm like, no, my card is worth, you know, what I say it's worth, you know, not what, I mean, and what someone else is willing to pay. You know, if someone wants to give me $1,000 for this right now, I'll consider selling it. And I told him that too, because at the end of the day, the guy was like, and he was a nice guy. I mean, he was, you know, and I appreciate him, you know, but he was like, you want to sell that card? And he took down my number and stuff. Yeah, for $1,000. Otherwise, I'm not selling it, bro. Like, I'll wait. You know, I don't even like, even if someone gave me $1,000 for this right now, I really don't even want to sell it. It's one of the best looking, dude. It's one of the best looking Tom Brady cards. And I'm going to keep buying Tom Brady if I have extra cash, because his cards are going to be worth bank, just like the Michael Jordan cards. Bank on that. I believe Tom Brady cards and the multipliers that they're going to go up are going to be crazy 10, 15, 20 years from now, just like the Michael Jordan cards are. Maybe not quite as high, but I think you're going to get a good return on investment, you know? And to that, you know, then if I paid, you know, $550 and $350, you know, for those two, and they end up being, you know, worth, you know, a lot more than that later down the road, then that's great. So, all right. And then, so that was it for the card show, right? Kind of reset these, and then I'll show you. We may have to finish this box, and then I may have to start a new stream, like completely new stream that's separate from the card show. Oh, man. All right, so shout out to the shop here in Colorado Springs. Good dudes, really like them. Bought these two cards from them. They gave me a good deal on them, which I appreciate. So speaking of Brady, speaking of the GOAT, Aiden O'Connell. Just kidding. They gave me these two cards for $150. It was $150. Or was it $160? I think it was $150. So Aiden O'Connell, flawless, number to 25. They originally wanted 80, but they knocked some off. So that's really nice. Aiden O'Connell, 18 out of 25. Like that. Then the Tom Brady patch, right? That's their logo of the shop. You can check them out. 2009 Rookies and Stars. So that's right after their almost undefeated season. And this one's numbered 63 of 100. So that's a really nice card. That's something I might send in to get graded later on. And I don't remember if this one is game used or not. It probably is game used. The enclosed piece of jersey was cut from an authentic jersey personally worn by Tom Brady in an official NFL game. The authentic worn jersey was obtained and is guaranteed by Panini America. America, mofo. This card's in really good shape. So let's go into my Brady investment. I'm treating this more like a business. That's the other thing you got to understand. My Raider stuff, this is for me. Like, I'm not selling Aiden O'Connell, even though I know most of the Raider Nation thinks he's trash and gave up on him before he was even drafted. But the funny thing is, look at let's see if I can see it. Look at the difference in what now the Panini card says. So remember, the other one was like, you know, it was a game used material worn by Tom Brady. This says the autograph is guaranteed by Panini. And I don't say anything about the patch. So it's kind of funny. Usually it just says like this material wasn't, you know, it's not from any game, specific game or event, you know, and sometimes it will be like won't even say that it was like worn by the player. So anyways, because I don't have a patch. My bad. Where's the one that has a patch? Sorry. I have an O'Connell one that has a patch. I don't know if it's in this box or coming up. Yeah. Screw it. Oh, here we go. All right. This is eBay. Since we're on Aiden O'Connell. I got this for $100. It's part of my my Aiden O'Connell set. So I'll just tell you guys that right now. 13 of 30. Paid $102 for this card. And so I just want to do that so you kind of see what now Panini says. The enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any game or event. The autograph is guaranteed by Panini. So it says the material isn't from any game or event. That's all it says. Doesn't say he wore it. Doesn't say he wore it in a game or nothing. You could peel this. That's why most people call them napkin patches now. But the point is, if you have a piece of like a card, you know, these older ones that says like game used and guaranteed authentic, those to me have more value than even the newer stuff that looks cool, that might look nicer or whatever. So, you know, if I come across Tom Brady cards, especially patches that were personally worn by him, to me, I think that's a huge positive. And I'm going to keep looking for, you know, patch cards that Tom Brady wore, that kind of stuff. Because I think those are going to be some of the biggest multipliers in the future. You know, especially if you can get a patch that he used in a game plus an autograph, but that's highly unlikely. All right, let's look at some eBay cards real quick, and then I'm gonna have to close this out, and then I'm gonna have to do another show because we're already at like 2 hours or something. All right, here's a custom card. This is actually pretty sick. Bo Jackson downtown. So again, this is custom card. This is not like, you know, you can get this from Panini or in a box of cards or something. This is called MVP custom cards. So, and it was $16 for this. And I think this card is freaking lit, man. Like Panini should do a card like this of Bo Jackson, right? Downtown, football, baseball, boom. That's a pretty sick card. All right, and then I think the A's are on the up and up, and one of the guys they got this pretty good is this dude Nick Kurtz. I don't know if you guys saw or heard, but Nick Kurtz hit 4 home runs in a game. Only rookie to hit 4 home runs in a game. Was nuts. And I think he had 2 other runs too. I think he had like 6 total, 4 home runs and 2 regular runs. But Topps Now got this one for $18. So that's kind of like an iconic moment. I thought that was cool. So his cards have gone up a lot, especially after this. Most of his cards I can't afford. I would like to have, like, you know, a nice card or some nice cards of him. Rooting for the A's, but here's that. And then what else we got? Devontae Adams. Boom shakalaka. 128 out of 135. So that's part of this. Some of this stuff was like cards that I've had for like over a year, dude. This is like I don't know, it's not really an important card. It's dude for the Rockies, Jonathan Diaz. You gotta pay like $5 or $10 for that card. It was just something I was like, well, maybe I'll put it in the because like you guys gotta understand, if I'm going to card shows, I'm also investing, not him necessarily, but like I'm also investing in cards that I'm not like keeping. I'm like doing it to make money off of. So I'm like making some different decisions. Like I'm still collecting, but I'm making different decisions to like make stuff to sell that people might want. So like if I buy Broncos stuff, people are gonna want to like blow my head off. But that's why, because I'm gonna sell it for a profit, like a business. Aiden O'Connell. This one, $16. So not too bad on that. Numbered 66 out of 99. So this autograph got a little goofy right here, but whatever. Hopefully gets healthy. Another Charles Woodson rookie. I've got a lot of his rookies now. Eventually I'm gonna send some of these in and try to get PSA 10. But that's why I've got so many. And then here's Victor Wemby, Topps Now, 23-24, Rookie of the Year. This is one I'm probably not going to sell. I might keep. It's not numbered, but so that's a pretty cool card in my opinion. And I think that's it. I guess last thing I'll show you. No, there's more, but I got to go take a smoke break, and then I'm gonna have to do a new video. I don't want this thing, and then I'll finish it out. I'll probably be able to finish the rest on the other video, but I gotta take a mental break. So when I was ordering the Zion case, like the case to display my cards and stuff, I had let's take Devontae down. Nobody wants to see Devontae's dumbass anyways, right? I agree. when I got the Zion case, like, right, that we're going to put these cards in to sell and stuff. Well, some of them, actually, most of these I'm not selling. Actually, I think all of these ones right here, I'm not selling this from a PC. But on their Zion cases, they have these magnetic holders, which are pretty badass. And I'll let you know, I've recently had to I got a lot of like stuff I'm working on in the background that you guys aren't gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna share with you until like I have it done. But the short answer is I'm working on something in my shop, and these are gonna be part of it. Not the card, not this card. This is just a whatever random card. I mean, nothing real expensive, but I'm working on something where these cases are going to be used for the thing I'm working on, right? Here's a Michael Penix Jr. Rookie. Should have been a Raider, but anyways. And 2 of these are going to go with the thing I'm working on. And you guys will just have to stay tuned for that. Now that hopefully I'm got my mom situated, I can focus back a little more on kind of that, you know, because that's an important deal. These card shows and everything I'm doing as a business, right, has a lot more to do with these slabs right here and the other like slabs that are going to be universal for what I'm working on. And the card shows are going to be an avenue for hopefully for me to, you know, display some of my talent and make some money. Fingers crossed. But again, if it's a business, you got to treat it differently. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that. And for this, what I'm talking about, I've had to purchase a big piece of equipment to make this endeavor and this big change happen. So I'm hoping it's going to work out. We'll see. But you'll stay tuned and you'll see what I'm talking about shortly. All right, guys, appreciate you. I'm going to get off. I'll probably get back on because I'm probably not going to go to bed just yet. And then I'll do a second video. So check out part 2. And there's some bangers in this other stuff. So don't sleep on what else I'm going to have coming down line here after I clean this up and make room for round 2. All right. Thanks, guys.